Woman in the Yard movie review for suicide suicide the mind of a suicidal woman movie, I guess. Which she's going through a lot of pain, anguish. Her husband died, and it's her fault, and she lied to her kids about it too, and I guess she feels guilty about that. And you can feel the tension. The tension in the film is real. It's like from the beginning, right away, just this ever looming aura of bad juju. It's like it's settled in, and of course, he's a teenager, so he's gonna be a little really, but he's like trying to be resourceful. He's telling mom like, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? There's no power in the house, so she's neglecting her kid. She's just been, I guess, in bed, wallowing in pain and literally in pain because she's got an injured leg too that's got stitches. And then there's one scene where they show that, and it looks like one of the wounds is like it's a little open or something. So like not a nice sight, not a good thing. I just realized the woman in the yard when she shows her face, and it looks like half of her face has been like mutilated. Perhaps that's the analogy to the suicide, perhaps. But yeah, this is she got rid of all the bullets, but she has only one bullet in the gun, and she saved that for her, I guess, because she was planning to do this, or she was fighting with the idea of doing this. But and that woman in the yard, it's her inner mind, it's her darkness manifesting itself but her kids see it, right? So that's where it gets the movie needs to be explained to me, because our kids they actually see the woman in the yard, and she's not just an analogy per se. Like they actually see her physically, and they comment on it. And the boy even talks to the woman in the yard, and that's when he confronts the mom, says, "Tell me the truth, what's happening." So he even talks to her, right? The woman in the yard. He even talks to her. This film, it was interesting. It was interesting to say the least. It's one setting. It's a house, and that's it. It's only the house. We don't ever leave the house. We have this nice field. It's this really vast field. It reminds me of like Mississippi Delta. It's like open with like clusters of trees in the background, and it looks like it could go on for miles. It does go on for miles. Not even that. It looks like it does, but we're in a rural area, and so there's not much happening. It's just the house, the farm. There were chickens on the farm. I guess the chickens did die. I don't know, because we did with the dog, and towards the end of the film, the dog disappears, and we think maybe the dog's dead, but we don't see any evidence per se that the dog is dead. But the chain snapped, it's broken. But then later we see the dog is it says comes with the family to this house, the Aurora farmhouse, which is like, and the kid said it's a few miles, so it's not nearby like that, but you can walk. It's manageable to walk to the neighbor's house, and when they have electricity, they have. So I guess she just defunct on the bills. Not that something out externally happened, but the electricity gone, but she defunct on the bills, because she's just been. I don't even know what her job. I guess she was an artist, or maybe that was her job. She had like a traditional desk job, maybe something, but it was suffocating to her. Because she was gonna go through like, they were having marriageable problems, her and her husband. And he tells her like, you were happy, you said you wanted this, I guess, like you were suffocating. We talked about this, so we went out, but she couldn't find. Maybe that's another analogy of the film. She's lost soul. She doesn't quite. She needs to find her way again, and she's struggling with that. And she even says, I need to do this. And he says, like, this is a we. It's always been a we thing. We were a team. But I guess they're not a team anymore. So it's teamship over, perhaps. And now it's, no. So I guess they're on their way to get a divorce, perhaps. But because he even says, like, as long as the kids are happy, then okay, it's fine. Like, that's the main priority. So maybe they're sort of discussing the inevitable, or kind of hinting towards, I guess we're gonna get divorced eventually. And this is gonna be the new catalyst. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this movie. It's an interesting film, and I'm curious to see what other people have to say about it. I want to know what other people have to say. And I like the twist of like the woman. See, I was under the impression maybe it was like her relative, her grandma, and she has like she does evil magic, and she knew about it, and she was hiding her kids from their true family history. I thought it was something like that, but no, it's kind of cooler that it's actually the recess of her mind, the suicide and the depression of her mind, like it literally manifests into a physical being, a person. It's interesting. It's cool. It's definitely unique. But that concludes my review. I don't have much more to say about it. The score is interesting. The score is by Lauren Baffle, which is like the Benghazi score guy, and I don't know if he did the end credits. The end credits are kind of funny. They're like different. And then we get the Georgia, filmed in Georgia. We get a little early. Usually you see that where it filmed the film a little later, but we got it early this time. And then they get back the dad, I guess. Well, no, they showed the SUV, and it was like a dark colored SUV when they showed them driving off. But then we see this red truck. So the continuity error, I don't know, because the truck was red. But then it's like, why would you have the accident in the truck? They give you the truck. The truck's total, but they just gave it to you. Why would they just give it to you? Well, the insurance wanted to like, we'll junk it for you, but it's on their property. And then they have a Jeep, but the Jeep doesn't work. Presumably that's the only car they have. It's like, I guess the battery. So that the man, everything's been neglected. They had no dog food. They probably lost the food in the fridge. I'm sure they lost that shit. It's a dire situation. And they only eat once, the eggs. And so, and these people must be hungry. They gotta be hungry. I mean, they good protein with the eggs and the crushed up Doritos. Looks like he made sausage too, and they have toast. But like, I know I would be hungry. I would probably be hungry like midday. Still daylight. I'm gonna be hungry again with this movie. But yeah, it was interesting. The house is nice too. It's an old house. And it's creepy too. You can imagine you live there at nighttime. It's gonna be kind of creepy. But yeah, that concludes my review of The Woman in the Yard. Suicide movie about suicide, the mind of someone that's going through that dark time. Thank you for listening.